All right, what's up, everyone? Coming at you with another how to beat video. This one is how to beat green yellow rookie rush in the BT5 format. I want to say thank you so much to everyone who's checked out my channel, liked and subscribed my videos, and given me some cool comments and feedback. Just hit 100 subscribers, super awesome. Didn't think that was gonna happen already, but you guys made it happen, and I'm gonna keep delivering the videos. So we're gonna get straight into it. What does Rookie Rush do? What do they want to do to win? So number one, the deck plays high value, low cost rookies. You'll see here the Falcomon, 2 cost to play, 5,000 DP. They also play the Arurumon, the Leomon, and sometimes I think it's a Automon, the red one. Basically, same exact card, just different colors. These 2 cost rookies are extremely good value because they're cheap to play, and the 5,000 DP actually lets them survive security checks, unlike most other rookies. So you're kind of forced to either have to attack into them the following turn, or they live to see another attack, which is incredibly strong in this type of deck, which is just trying to race security. Rookie Rush is also a deck that is very good at memory choking. So because all of their cards are low cost to play rookies, more often than not, they'll be leaving you at 1 or 2 memory, which makes it very difficult to answer their swarm because you oftentimes can't play to your own deck's win condition under such little memory, whereas their deck is setting up their own win condition. Furthermore, because of that same swarm, they force you to have to answer their plays, and oftentimes you just can't. Like, that's why the deck feels so bad to play against, because sometimes you're just facing down, a Falcomon, an Arurumon, a Starmons, and a Pulsemon, and you only have 3 security, and you don't have a blocker, and you don't have a board wipe, and you just kind of have to surrender to the fact that you just got donked on by Rookie Rush, and it feels really bad. And, especially this format as opposed to all the other versions of Rookie Rush, the past like blue-green versions, because of the new yellow cards, the deck has access to some really lame cards. So, for example, Starmons and Spiral Masquerade gives them a lot of removal that the deck probably shouldn't have, but here we are. They can just play Starmons when they have a board with 4 of the guys, and they can kill your blocker. Or, Spiral Masquerade basically lets them play Shine Greymon tactics, which is really dumb. For only 4 memory too, it's absolutely absurd. And the deck actually has pretty good draw power, more so than past versions of Rookie Rush, where your only draw power was really the Drabumon and the Upamon, which your opponent can play around. This time they have Lopmon, which lets them draw a card from the security and draw a card from the deck, so it's +1. They have the Pulsemon, of course. You guys all know what Pulsemon does. The Kudamon, which is if they have 4 or less cards in their hand, which they oftentimes do, they draw a card when attacking. And finally, the Upamon, if they're at 3 or less security, which they can put themselves to with Blinding Rays and the Lopmon, they also draw a card when attacking. So the deck has surprisingly good resource resilience. But we can still play around that. We'll get into that later. And finally, the deck does have some healing. It is a yellow deck, so we see the Salamon that's 4 cost to play. When deleted, it can heal a card. So that's really the only healing the deck plays, unless they fit in some TKs. But that's not really healing. That's more of like a swapping out. But they still put a card in from their security. So the deck is annoying. It is the strongest version of Rookie Rush we've had to deal with to date. But luckily, there are some ways to play around it. First, what we want to do is we want to understand their standard play pattern. So Rookie Rush is a very fast, aggressive deck. They're looking to win by turn 4, turn 5 at the latest. So usually, all Rookie Rush players want to go first because they want to get the first attack in. So their opening play is almost always Digivolve over their egg. Rookie Rush will almost never brick. It is possible for them to brick because they can draw all their options, or maybe they'll draw their green cards and not their yellow cards. But almost always they have the opening rookie, and then they either Digivolve into Terurimon and they pass you 1 memory, or they establish another rookie on their board. So they'll either play a 2 cost 5k attacker, or they will play something like the Pulsemon to draw a card, or the Lopmon, same, to draw a card. So they establish value and attacks on turn 1. Turn 2, oftentimes you're passing them over 1 or 2 memory on turn 2, depending on what your hand looks like. But with 1 memory, they can establish another attacker, or if you pass them over 2 memory, they can establish another attacker, and they can play Starmons. So, 2 memory, they play another 2-cost rookie, and then they pass you 3 memory, and they play the Starmons. They have 3 cards on their board, and they can clear 3k worth of Digimon, which is going to be probably your own rookies. So let's say you answer with a rookie of your own, they're going to come back with Starmons and pop it. Or if you pass them anything more than 2 memory, they might even be able to Spiral Masquerade you. So, and Spiral Masquerade is 3k per Digimon they have. So typically by this time they can put 3 Digimon on the board if you give them enough memory plus the Spiral Masquerade. So they can clear 9k worth of Digimon, which is going to be pretty much any level 5 or lower, which is really sad. So if you happen to somehow put out a level 5 on turn 2, I don't know how you do that, but you could, I guess. It'll be deleted if they happen to have the Spiral Masquerade, and that puts you really behind in tempo because then they have 3 attackers and you have nothing. By turn 3, they're pretty much looking to set up their final attack on the following turn, so they'll probably chip in some damage if they haven't already. So at this point you can expect to be at 4 or 3 security, and at this point they can also play Spiral Masquerade, which will kill anything 12k or lower, which is pretty much all your level 6s. Because they can have up to 3 or 4 attackers on the board, or they can also just clear out your blockers, again, with the Spiral Masquerade, or even Starmons at this point if they have enough Digimon out on the board. Your 5k blockers will die if they have 4 Digimon established. They can just play the Starmons on top of that for their 5th Digimon. That lets them clear 5k, which will kill your 1-cost Digivolve blockers, which are the most popular ones right now. So just be conscious of that. If they are threatening 4 Digimon on their board, your blockers aren't necessarily safe. And finally on turn 4 is when they look to swing for game. If you're at 3 or 4 memory, they will probably have 4 or 5 attacks on the board. They'll just swing at you, and there's probably nothing you can do about it. Even if you have blockers, you probably need to have at least 2 set up, because if they have the 1 needle spray in their hand, then they just needle spray and swing for game. And there's, again, nothing you can do. It feels really bad. This is why we all dislike the deck, but, that's just how it is. Bandai lets it happen, so here we are. So now you want to know, and the whole reason you guys are here, is how to win against Rookie Rush. Well, I'm going to start off with some general tips. This isn't quite the same as the security control video where you can kind of just change your playstyle with any deck and you'll improve your chances of winning. Rookie Rush is definitely matchup dependent and deck build dependent. So I'm going to start general, and then I will go down to the individual colors and meta decks, and that way you guys can kind of see what you guys can do to improve your matchup if you're seeing a lot of Rookie Rushes at your locals, or maybe you're planning to entering the Evo Cup tournaments this month, and there will definitely be a pretty big Rookie Rush presence in those tournaments. So first of all, consider adding the 6k DP blockers to your deck. They're not as popular anymore since every color has their 1-cost Digivolve blocker, which is only 5k. So the 6k blockers, what's good about them is that the extra 1000 DP helps them live more against Starmons. They both lose to Spiral Masquerade at the same threshold, so if your opponent has 2 Digimon and they Spiral Masquerade, they can minus 6000 DP, so both the 6k and 5k blockers die to that play. But for Starmons, they need 1 whole extra Digimon on their board, so that will help these live in some situations where the other blockers wouldn't. And also, these cards are good when you are going second against Rookie Rush, and remember, they always want to go first, so chances are, if you lose the die roll, and then, let's say you beat them for 1 game, the next game, they're going to choose to go first. They always choose to go first. So these cards, if you've seen my previous videos, I've talked about how these cards are good when you're going second, because the 2-cost Digivolve allows you to not pass over more memory than you need to when you Digivolve into them. So let's say they go Egg into Rookie into Terurimon, pass you 1 memory. You can go Egg into Rookie into your 6-cost blocker and 2 to Digivolve, so you only pass them over 1 memory. And then they can only play 1 Rookie after that. And they pass the turn back over to you. You can raise up your blocker, guarantee to stuff one of their attacks, and then you can establish more board presence after that. And then the next point, obviously, they always want to go first. So the counter to that is that when you have the opportunity, you want to go first. Rookie Rush wants to go first because they want to establish the first attack of the game. So that way, if it does come down to a security race, they pretty much always win. Finally, or not finally, but next, you want to establish your memory tamer early if you can. Even if it's like on turn 1 or 2 and you have to pass them over 4, it does feel really bad. But again, Rookie Rush is a deck that is very good at choking you and keeping you at 1 memory. So just guaranteeing yourself the 3 memory gives you some breathing room to be able to make your plays. Pretty much every meta deck is kind of centered around that 3 memory threshold, or even just the game in general. If you have 3 memory, you can probably make your big play that you want to make. So having that early memory tamer helps you not just get choked out of the game and, not even be able to play. So these next few tips are just kind of how to play your blockers. So what you want to avoid against Rookie Rush is like hard playing your blockers for their full cost, so 5 or 6 memory. That was a good strategy in previous formats, like against the blue-green Rookie Rush decks, because they didn't really have removal. So your blockers would kind of just stick no matter what. But against Rookie Rush, like let's say you pass them over 5 memory, they can just go 2-drop, 2-drop into Spiral Masquerade, and your blocker dies, and they establish 2 attackers for free. So hard playing blockers against them is not a good strategy anymore. And you pretty much just want to digivolve into them as much as you can. So from raising and then bring them up, so that way they only cost 2 memory instead of 5 or 6, or 1 memory in the case of the 1-cost blockers. You also don't want to get greedy with your blockers. I know a lot of times we're willing to let security checks go through because more often than not the rookies will die to security, instead of having to use your block and then letting another attack go through. Don't get greedy with them. Use your blocks whenever you can, even if you have to trade for like their Terrorimon or their 5-cost blocker. It's better than losing a security in this situation, because remember, their win condition is just to Unga Boonga face you down. And if you even just prevent 1 security check, then maybe a turn or 2 later, that will come in handy because they'll be 1 short of game because you traded your blocker for one of their attackers. And plus, Security Control now, because they run Spiral Masquerade and Needle Spray, even if you do manage to save your blockers on the board, chances are that when they finally go for game, they can just remove your blocker or Needle Spray to suspend it and then just ignore it. So anytime you have the opportunity to get value out of your blocker by saving one of your securities, you should definitely take that opportunity. Don't get greedy with them like you would in other matchups. And finally, this one's a tough one, but you don't want to get baited into a security race necessarily. So just, trying to play them at their own game. So just kind of just dropping your own rookies and just trying to chip at them, and then they chip at you back, and then you chip at them. You are more likely to lose that race based purely on the fact that they run 8 options that can blow you out in security, those being 4 Spiral Masquerades and 4 Needle Sprays. So I'm talking about the newer Rookie Rush builds that don't play Puppetmon. If you are still playing Puppetmon in your Rookie Rush build, please take it out and replace those with Needle Sprays. It's a much better card. Maybe I shouldn't be giving Rookie Rush players tips, but here we are. So yeah, if you are trying to race them and you run into a Spiral Masquerade, they're going to wipe your board for free, and then you will definitely lose. And same thing with Needle Spray. You will lose one of your attackers. They put the Needle Spray in their hand. Next turn, they can use it to maybe even swing over one of your rookies with one of their bigger rookies, or suspend one of your blockers and then swing into your security and win out in the race. All right. So can't really talk about beating Rookie Rush without mentioning Takumi. This is probably the most anti-Rookie Rush card that we can splash into decks right now. So the main effect that we are going to focus on right now is the all turns, all level 3 Digimon gain when attacking, lose 1 memory. So obviously you can see how that is an effect that would slow down Rookie Rush. Because it's a deck that operates on such low memory anyways, they can play a Rookie for 2, and then they can still have 0 memory, and then they can swing with, let's say, 3 guys. If you have Takumi on the board, they can play the rookie for 2, go to 0 memory, and then they can only attack with 1 guy before passing the turn over. So Takumi helps slow down their aggro, so they kind of have to choose between widening their attacks or actually being able to threaten multiple attacks in the turn. So it'll probably buy you like 2 or 3 turns. People kind of overstate the value of Takumi against Rookie Rush. Don't get me wrong, it definitely helps, but it's not going to solo win you the game. You know, it's not like a complete floodgate. It just kind of slows them down. You know, like maybe they'll win like on turn 5 or 6 if you don't see an out instead of on turn 3 or 4. But that's where the other part of Takumi comes in, is the whenever you Digivolve, you can tap the Takumi and draw an extra card. So that is a helpful effect because it can help you dig for your real powerful outs against the deck. So let's say if you're playing green, you can drop a Takumi early to kind of stifle their aggro, and then as you Digivolve, you can use that same Takumi to get some extra draws and dig for your Blossomons and Nidhogg's to wipe their board. That's just one example. Purple can do the same thing with Tactimons, or I don't know if you're playing Alteress in red. We'll get to the text per each color soon. But in general, if you have a super, super hard time with Rookie Rush, you might want to consider playing 1 or 2 Takumis. Of course, the con of Takumi is that you have to fit it into your deck. It's a white tamer, so it doesn't like enable options or anything like that, but it is something that you can kind of splash. You have to take out 1 or 2 cards for it, and some deck lists have pretty tight space. If you can find it, then go for it. And then also, you have to see it early. If you don't see Takumi within the first 2 or 3 turns, then all the value that you could get out of it is lost, because by that point they've established all their attacks. It doesn't really matter if they lose memory for attack, because they're just going to go attack, lose a memory, attack, lose a memory, pass their turn. They still have 3 other unsuspended guys that you have to deal with, and then they can just do it next turn, and then you still kind of lose the game anyways. All right, so if you are really, really tired of losing to Rookie Rush, or your locals for whatever reason has a bunch of degenerates that want to play the Rookie Rush mirror in the tournament and they don't care and they just want to play the deck, you have 2 really good hard counters to the deck. You have Nidhoggmon and you have Ultimate Flare. So Nidhoggmon, anything 5k or less gets suspended, and then after that anything that's suspended goes to the bottom of the deck. So 5k threshold pretty much removes anything that Rookie Rush plays except for Terurimon, and then if they swung with the Terurimon, it throws it to the bottom of the deck anyways. So Nidhoggmon is probably the best catch-all against the deck, and it is a card that can come out the fastest. So for example, Alteress pretty much does the same thing, except for Alteress is much more expensive because it's a level 7, whereas a Nidhogg, because you're playing green, you only need 1 memory to bring out a Nidhogg in green. So you can go Egg, Rookie for 0, then you do a 1 cost level 4, which is all of the level 4s that green plays are 1 cost. Then let's say you can Mimi to bring it out of your raising, you can Digizorp into Blossomon for free, and then you can Nidhogg. So on your turn, you only need 1 memory to execute that play. Sure, you pass them over 5, but you wipe their board. So let's say they reestablish a whole nother board. If you have the second Nidhogg in play, that's almost always the backbreaker. Same concept for Ultimate Flare. It will delete any Digimon in play with a cost of 3 or less, which is every card that Rookie Rush plays except for Bushi Agumon, Salamon, and Terurimon. Everything else will get deleted. So they can kind of play around it, but let's say you hit the Ultimate Flare in security, you can Digivolve the Terurimon and then still delete it. If there's a Agumon or a Salamon in it, then whatever, fair play. They played around it, but the second Ultimate Flare is enough to finish off the deck for the most part. Because Rookie Rush it has good resource recursion now. They have some pretty decent draw power now, but they still can't deal with the second board wipe. So like past versions of Rookie Rush, usually 1 board wipe was enough to clear them. This one you probably need the second one, because then after the first one they just drop their hand again, and then you have to deal with that again. But like I said, second Nidhogg, second Ultimate Flare will almost always win you the game. If you see the third one, then it's definitely a GG. That's the backbreaker for sure. Alright, so what do you do if you don't play green or black? You don't play Nidhogg or Ultimate Flare in your deck and you can't fit it in. Well, every color has their own options, their own text that you can fit in to beat it. So in red, and I guess technically black too, but black has Ultimate Flare, so you don't really need to consider this. You have Omnimon Alter S. Similar effect to Nidhogg, where well, it's kind of in between Nidhogg and Ultimate Flare. So you de-digivolve one card, so you can clear their Terurimon, and then anything 5k or less gets deleted. So that's pretty much going to be their entire board. It's a good card. Problem is, like I said, unlike Nidhogg, it is very slow because you have to pay the memory to go all the way to level 6, and in red, you don't really have a way of reducing that cost unless you're playing Nokia Greymon, which is probably the best way to play red, by the way, right now. And so it would be Baby to Rookie is 0, Rookie to Champion is 1, Champion to Ultimate is 3. So you're playing 4 memory there. Champion to Mega is another 3. So that's 7 memory, and then you have to pay 6 to go into Alter S, so that's 10 memory total, as opposed to Nidhogg, which costs 5. And against Rookie Rush, speed is everything. So you can see how Alter S is a little too slow, but if you manage to get it off, you will be at a pretty good advantage, especially in a red deck, which has Security Plus effects, so you can probably match their Security race pretty well. Shoutmon, kind of the same idea. The effect when you Digivolve it is that you can pop anything 5k or less for each Shoutmon and Z Greymon in its stack. So if you can chain Shoutmons on top of each other and keep getting that 5k pop off, you might be in a good position. The problem with Shoutmon is that it's a 1-stack deck. So if they clear your 1 stack with a Spiral Masquerade before you can get rolling, they're probably going to swarm you anyways. So feels bad. Honestly, I feel like red is not really in a super good position right now meta-wise. But you can still try it, and Alter S and Shoutmon can probably win you some games against Rookie Rush if you're smart about it. Alright, purple. So Lilith Loop has a notoriously poor matchup against Rookie Rush just because Lilith is a slow setup deck, and Rookie Rush will beat it down by turn 3. But you can adapt. So we're actually seeing that already. People are playing a lot more Takumi. Takumi is super good against Rookie Rush. So it's when attacking, you can delete up to 3 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. And you can always get that effect off. Obviously, if it's the only card on your board, then you get the other 2 effects off. But against Rookie Rush specifically, the only one you really care about is that delete 3 level 3 Digimon. Zwart, if you can get there, also good against Rookie Rush. Why? Because you can bring back 2 blockers, so you cut off 2 of their attacks, and then when it attacks, you get to delete 1 of their Digimon for free. So good effect against Rookie Rush if you can get there. Luckily, in purple, especially Mega Digimon Fusion decks, they usually play 2 or 3 copies of Takumi anyways, which again helps in the Rookie Rush matchup. So purple, my advice, if you're not already, play more Takimons. Take out Chaos Gallantmon. I hate that card. Don't play Chaos Gallantmon. It seems cool, but you will get a lot more value out of Takimon. Take out Anubismon too. That card's a bait. It's yeah, Takimon, you can leave it in your raising, and then it does a lot more for you. So take out those other cards, please. Blue. The only blue deck really worth talking about is Imperial Dramon. I guess we can talk about Hexablau too. Hexablau, if you can get to Hexablau, will stop Rookie Rush in its tracks, but it is super vulnerable to removal. So one Spiral Masquerade will kill your Hexablau, and then they will just swing for game. So that's a little weird. But I think Imperial has a better shot, just based on the fact that they can run Nidhogg. So the popular list that topped the regionals with the one Nidhogg comes in against Rookie Rush. It's a good tech. You could probably even play two Nidhoggs. And Imperial Dramon combo itself, so Pale Dramon swing, Digivolve into Imperial, restand, swing twice, and then Blitz Omni, so that's 4 security checks. Lets you keep up in the security race, and if you got a couple chips off early game, it could probably even win you the game out of nowhere. So I think blue has a fair shot. You're kind of just going aggro for aggro, but you have a harder top end. So you could probably win out if you draw your pieces. And again, Takumi can help with that especially. Finally, the only color we haven't gone through is yellow. Yellow is a weird one, especially since the people who are playing Rookie Rush right now, and the reason why I think Rookie Rush is so popular right now is a lot of the Lord Knight players decided to stop coin flipping the mirror and just switch their Pulsemons out to the Rookie Rush deck. Rookie Rush... Okay, if I was a Lord Knight player, I would much rather play Rookie Rush into Lord Knight than play the mirror. I'm just going to be straight up. And that's probably why we're seeing so many more Rookie Rushes lately. But the matchup isn't unwinnable for yellow. It's a little weird, especially in like the first like 1 or 2 turns of the game, because it's kind of like a mirror match, except Rookie Rush has more easily accessible removal, and it's easier for them to choke you. But if you play smart, if you can manage to draw a early TK, I think is very important against the deck, because that lets you go into your Lord Knight without having to pass the turn. And it will also enable War Growl into Valdararm play. So you bring your War Growl out of Raising, Digiburst 2, kill one of their guys, Digivolve into Slash, kill one of their guys, you're at 0 memory, and then Digivolve into Valdararm, and you can kill 2 of their guys. So you can clear 4 guys with that play. You need 3 memory to do it, so that's why I say the early TK is pretty important. Or, you can Blinding Ray yourself and then do it that way. You do want to be careful with your Blinding Rays in this matchup, because burning yourself could put you into random lethal range. So just be conscious of how many attacks they're putting out on the board, and just use your removal as much as you can. Like, be liberal with it. Starmons, kill one of their guys. Nightmon, kill one of their guys. Lord Nightmon, if you can establish a swing or 2 with Lord Nightmon, you're in a good position. But if you can't get there, then you're probably going to lose out. Alright, so Rookie Rush, that's an overview of kind of all of the meta matchups. It's a weird deck to play against in the sense that you kind of know they're going to beat you by turn 4, so if you can't stabilize by then, it's kind of doomed. But I hope that I kind of showed you guys what the deck wants to do, some cards that you can play in your deck to tech around it, or if it really comes down to it, decks that you can play to beat it. If you ask me and to recommend one deck that you should play if you want to win your locals and there's going to be like 3 or 4 Rookie Rush players, play green with 4 Nidhoggs and 2 or 3 Takumis. That's pretty much the hardest counter to Rookie Rush that you can get. If you can draw an early Takumi, you're going to slow down their pressure, and then 4 Nidhoggs, you'll pretty much see it every game. The first Nidhogg is going to be devastating, and the second Nidhogg will win you the game. And then when you drop the third Nidhogg on them, they're going to scoop up their cards. So if that's your goal, play that deck. Alright, guys? So that's how to beat Rookie Rush. I know it wasn't as good as the how to beat security control list, just because of the nature of Rookie Rush. It's very deck dependent, and there isn't really like specific playstyle changes you can make against the deck. But hope you guys learned something anyways. It's super awesome that you guys have really been enjoying the videos. Coming up next on the channel, I'm going to do a yellow overview. So it's pretty much Lord Nightmon and all the variants. And then after that, I'm going to do a how to beat yellow. So for those of you who don't want to jump on the Lord Knight train, I'm going to show you guys some tips on how to do better in that matchup. All right. So cheers, and I will see you tomorrow.